This podcast is supported by listeners like you. We're grateful for your tax-deductible donation at newthoughtphilly.org or the link in the episode description.
A practical prayer is a prayer that works.
These discussions between Reverend Bill Marchioni and Carol Lawrence dive into the details of how it works and how to work it.
Reverend Bill is a New Thought minister and the author of Practical Prayer for Real Results.
Your new life begins with a new thought.
Carol Lawrence is on a spiritual quest, finding the New Thought teaching after decades on the pulpit in 3 different traditional denominations.
I've got some questions.
Together, they're exploring the philosophy and activities that come together from many of the world's religions to create the practical spirituality that is New Thought.
Welcome to the Practical Prayer Podcast. I'm Carol, here with Reverend Dr. Bill Marchioni.
We are going to have a wonderful, wonderful conversation today, and I will paraphrase what you were talking about before. We're continuing the discussion that we had a few weeks back about artificial intelligence, AI, and how the tools are getting better. I put that in air quotes, better, because it's means that it's more natural seeming and not as easy to spot the AI fakes as it used to be. And there are so many possibilities that come along with AI, and there's still something slippery about it. So
I wasn't quite expecting that word. Well, go ahead, yeah.
Yeah. So and your concern or my concern as well, or maybe I'm just projecting my concern onto you, is when we are in a context where we're interacting with artificial intelligence as though it's another human being, where's the humanity?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it matters. Yeah, it matters. Yeah, I mean, you sure did.
Previous conversation we had. Yeah, if we have artificial intelligence create a practical prayer for us, either written out or spoken, and it speaks that prayer on our behalf, I've proven it actually can do a practical prayer pretty well. I asked it to do a practical prayer and label the steps, and it got them right. And as a prayer, it was not bad, entirely not bad. But the reason that we're going to do a prayer is because it changes the experience of life that we're having. Well, it's not going to change the experience of life that the AI is having, because it's not having an experience of life. It's having an experience of computing. And we're having an experience of life. And so the question becomes, when AI writes a prayer for us, is the fact that it's written effective? Is that going to put the prayer into effect in the world? Do we need to read it out loud for ourselves? Do we need to claim the words for ourselves? Do we need to, in the case of AI, because we can make them read to us, you can put a computer-generated character up on your screen and you can make it, wear priestly robes and stand on top of a mountain, speaking in James Earl Jones' voice. Practical prayer that it made up for you. When we listen to it, do we have to believe it? And does the way that it's generated change anything about the prayer? And I have opinions. I'm still on that James Earl Jones reading my artificially generated prayer for me.
Yeah, it's one thing about the reading and another thing about the prayer. The word nuance comes in there to my mind. There's something about the human. There are nuances that may not be able to be spoken or picked up on. Now, that's just me thinking. It may not be true, but it's there. I wrote a couple of books, and they were in 2017, and so that meant I started in 2014 or whatever. And they're very different. They express things very differently than I would today. So I wanted to rewrite them and republish them. Haven't had time. In the meantime, AI has come. And I thought, okay, and I come through all different ways I could use it. And I settled on this. I said, okay, I'll take a chapter and throw it into AI and see what I get. And I'm going to tell AI everything that I want to take out and see what I get. And I said that in a public forum, and it set off a firestorm of responses, which are fine with me because when I decide I want to do something, I know what I'm doing. But there were people that questioned the integrity of it. And I thought, okay, so I'm the one who spent 4 years doing the work. So if I put it through AI and say what I want, okay, I am not violating any standards of integrity. This is mine. Every dot, every comma, every period I wrote. So that's not the issue. But the other side of it is when I'm on the side of the listener or the receiver, I'm wondering if there's something missing in the transmission of what AI is saying. So your example and mine I think are the same. There's something, and I don't know what the something is. I look at the clones of AI, and maybe that's not the word, but the fake people. And I'm looking at this person talking to me, and I'm looking in your eyes, and they're not alive.
Right.
There's, there's something there. The information may be on point. I'm not sure. But the fact that I can't connect makes me doubt. And now I'm not sure I want to be bothered anymore. That may or may not be legitimate, but that's sort of my concern. Do you see what I mean? So it's the same thing as putting your writing through something. Is Carol coming through, or does Carol need to make the changes? Is the prayer that you really wrote in your book, the heart and soul and the meaning of the prayer as it was written, is it coming through? And the next question is, does it matter? Because, you know what I mean? Because the person that's on the other end, maybe they don't need to know all that. I don't know. I think it's important though, because let me just say this. When you wrote, there's a couple of the prayers in the book. The book is great, but there's a couple of the prayers that are just mine. Couple. And those prayers, I'm saying, like when you wrote those prayers, like Spirit was right in your ear telling you to write every word, whether that's true or not. That's how it comes across to me because they're mine. Those prayers are mine. If you're not there, am I missing that? Is there something, or is the prayer allowed to fall however it falls? Maybe it's probably a whole lot of questions in there.
There's a whole lot of questions in there. And and some of them are really easy to answer, and some of them get a little more subtle and nuanced, and I think they get more difficult to answer. From the big picture, the part that's the most important to me is that there is room for guidance or intuition. And with AI, there's not, because Spirit is not whispering in the ear of the AI system. It is an artificial construct that is doing what it is programmed to do, and the people who programmed it can change the way that it's going to be acting or responding or interacting. And if an AI tool is starting to generate stuff that's inspired by Spirit, somebody can come along and turn that off. And on the other hand, if it's inspired by Spirit and it's just making stuff up, it's just hallucinating, that's the other end of the spectrum. So there is a limited subset of what AI can do. It can take what we already know and rearrange and repackage it in a way that is going to make sense and create something which is not bad. But it's very unlikely that it's going to be able to reliably create something new. So intuition, inspiration, divine guidance, and the human element, that connection. Because when you read one of the prayers in the Practical Prayer Book that really resonates with you, that is a spirit-to-spirit connection through two humans. So everything that happened for me went through me onto the page and then went through the entire publishing process, which has a lot of technology in it as well, so that the book those words could make their way to you. And it's that combination of words that resonates. Down on the one hand, you say, well, it's a bunch of characters on a page. Does it matter whether those were arranged by Bill or arranged by a computer? And by the way, they were arranged by a computer with Bill at the keyboard. So we get ourselves more and more distanced from that. But at some point, there needs to be room for that human element, for that spiritual element, for divinity to show up in there. Otherwise, it's just, it's all an appliance.
And I think as I listen to the technical geniuses, I'll just call them that, as they talk about AI and what it's meant to do and so forth and so on, I feel sometimes that you're trying to make me believe something. And and of course you
As
are.
a former pastor, you know what that is.
So I was thinking about, I have a degree in paralegal science, right? For no reason, I just did it. And the very first class, I think this was by design. I'll never forget, there was a judge that was teaching the first class, and I think this is built into the system. They make a statement that it's going to make you either stay or leave. And it's perfect. So he said, the law is not the truth. The truth is what we can make you believe. And I thought, I thought this was all about truth. And it was a coldness in what he said. And I thought, this dude is telling the truth here, right? He is telling the truth. And I kid you not, there was nearly half of the class could not handle it, and they left. They just said, I'm not doing this.
They just bailed.
And I think that was the whole point, really, because it's such a shocking thing to think about that. So with AI, when, the geniuses are telling me all this, I feel like that I experienced that day all over again. Like, okay, what is the truth and what you're trying to make me believe? And I have to be the one to ask myself that question and get at some level of the truth that I can accept. I think that's what it is. And I kind of have some concerns about that. And that's the care in me, that's the part where, because I really believe that I am trusted. I'm trusted that I'm going to peel back the layers of everything. Even if other people don't, I'm going to do that. Well, that's a story I tell myself, fine.
That's what you're doing,
but,
right.
And somebody's got to do it. I'm just part of the one that do it. But that has to be so that we can place our faith in something that is as real as possible, as it can be. Even if it's your own defined truth, let that be rooted in as much truth as is possible, not just what somebody wants me to believe. That makes sense?
That does make sense.
Yeah.
It does make sense. Let's take a break, and get a whole bunch of ground that we get to cover.
Learn to put practical prayer to work in your life. The steps are simple to learn and let you begin to get real results to create the life of your dreams immediately. Reverend Bill Marchione's widely acclaimed book, Practical Prayer for Real Results, gives you a clear summary of the New Thought principles behind practical prayer and the series of easy-to-understand steps found in the most effective prayers from religions and spiritual practices all over the world and throughout history. Practical prayer is not a replacement for your religion or practice. It's a technique to make the work you do in consciousness even more effective. The book includes 40 prayers on various topics that you can adapt as needed and use as your own. Practical Prayer for Real Results is available in paperback, Kindle, and audiobook on Amazon or at b-the-light.com. That's b-the-light.com. deepen.com.
Welcome back to the Practical Prayer Podcast. I'm Carol, here with Reverend Dr. Bill Marcioni.
Talking about artificial intelligence and the nuances behind artificial intelligence and the pros and cons such that those might be. And there's a lot to unpack in AI, and there's a lot of power. There's a lot of things that are wonderful. I talked to a friend of mine who will be preparing a talk or a lesson, and she'll give AI a prompt, give me 15 quotes from Charles Fillmore and another 15 quotes from Ernest Holmes on this particular topic. And it'll come back and do that. And she can do this herself. It just takes time. And when she asks AI to do it, then she winds up with a list, and here's the 10 of them. And she can then choose the ones that she wants. And, then AI will say, would you like me to make a PowerPoint presentation out of that? Would you like to organize those? Would you like them to be indexed? And all the other things. Hell yeah, it makes it easier to do her job. She is not asking AI to write the talk for her, because there needs to be the room for that human element, for there to be some authenticity in there. And I think the same thing happens. There are a lot of people who are having great success using AI chatbots for therapy, to have a conversation about what's going on in their life. And if you've watched a therapist work with other people, it's different when they're working with you. If you watch the therapist work with other people, the person will talk for a while, and the therapist will key in on a word or a phrase or a tendency for somebody to say something, and then ask more about it. Like, say more about that. Explain more about that. Or they notice something that fits a pattern, and then they go into what's the cause of the pattern. And those are the things that a chatbot can do really well, to get somebody to dig into their own story a little bit and see that maybe the meaning of the story isn't the meaning they attach to it, that there's something else behind it. Does it take another person to be the therapist in doing that? And my thought is, a lot of times no, but sometimes yes. And the only way to be sure that there's going to be somebody intuitively asking the right question, to be able to look through that maze of nonsense that's coming back, somebody is trying to defend their story. If you take that intuition out of the equation, then it winds up just being an opportunity to sit there and babble on. Is there an opportunity for growth? Is there somebody who's going to hold the person's feet to the fire and insist on something? The other thing that I notice is a lot of people just like talking. You've had people who, they'll call you up and they'll tell you their entire story, and as soon as you start talking about yourself, they got to go. Those people are great candidates to have a conversation with AI, because they don't care what AI has to say. They just want somebody to listen and say, wow, fascinating. Did they really do that? Oh my goodness, you poor soul,
So it deepens the responsibility of the person who is engaging with the AI to know why you're doing it, and to not give all of your power to AI. There's nothing in between. I'm not giving up my intuition, my feeling, my spiritual receptors, or whatever you want to call it. I just want some information. That's what I want. I want the 15 quotes by whoever I want them, and then I'll take it from there. But I think
I'll take it from there. That is the huge, important piece about AI. I'll take it from there. Because what we want to do with these tools is create something that's ours. And a lot of what's getting done is people are letting AI create the finished product.
And that is the concern. I want to say danger, and maybe I'll just say danger. That's the danger of it. Because here, let me just boil it down a little bit more. We're living in a very difficult time right now. A lot of changes going around us. And I don't trust anything that I see and hear that comes off TV for the most part. I ain't big on trusting anyway, but hey, what can I tell you? You know, I tell people I got trust issues and I'm not backing off and I'm not sorry and I don't need a therapist. What I call trust issues is that I'm just careful, you know, I'm just not sucking up whatever you say. And a lot of that is happening and a lot of things work because of that one thing where you stopped me and said, I'll take it from here. There's got to be that point in which I say, I'm taking it from here. When you're telling me something, I'm sifting out what you say, okay, so fine, we finished. I listened to you a half an hour. Now I'm going to take it from here. I'm not going to turn off and then go do what you say. And unfortunately, and I'm speaking from pastoral experience, and if I have people that are still in the traditional religious experience, understand I mean no harm. But there are so many people that will hear it, take it, and not run it through that grid. I'll take it from here. I'll check. They'll just go with it, you know, and that leads, or that's the result of religious trauma and the like.
Yep.
And, you know, so when I think of AI, I'm thinking, wait a minute, this is potential for this kind of thing to escalate even in another area. But that's just me.
Yeah. How many friends have you heard you got an email from somebody that said, I'm out of the country and my passport was stolen and I don't have any money, and can you please Zelle or wire or whatever it is this money to me so that I can get on an airplane?
Many, yes. Many.
And there have been some subset of them that have actually sent the money.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
It's check. Check. When you hear something like that, verify. Wow, okay. Especially when somebody's asking you for money. You know, the friend got scammed. Somebody took over his Facebook and put up a post of, oh, my grandfather died and I have to get rid of his stuff. So if there's any of these things that you're interested in, it's all going to go. And it's like a 4-year-old Camry and a tractor. And the interaction just became, you don't need to pay for it. Don't need to commit, just a deposit. And I'll hold it for you because I'm traveling now. Mm-hmm. And I don't pay attention to this. My wife got this. And so she called the guy and he says, oh yeah, my Facebook got hacked. Don't send them any deposit money because you'll never get it back. And I can't get back onto my Facebook. And it'd be really easy. Oh, well, it's just a deposit. Look at that. I can get myself a 2022 Camry for $500.
Yeah.
Check. You know, there's somebody will send me this astounding thing. I can't believe that this just happened. And I will immediately go and check and see if it actually just happened. And 9 times out of 10, the really astounding things didn't happen. Of course, the 10th time is something that did happen. It's like, oh my God, I live in a world where that sort of thing can happen. But I want to be able to verify for myself.
And isn't it, verifying is important, but, you know, sometimes just trust your gut. Like, does this make sense? Does this make sense?
Yeah.
And I think, you know, I mean, I was avoiding this word, but it's part of it too. There's greed where you want something for nothing. That pretty rarely happens. So, okay.
Something for nothing? Oh, very rarely.
Yeah, very rarely happens. And so maybe it does, but I don't think so. So there are a lot of, I don't know, I guess things that have come to my awareness that would make me very much interested because of certain things that I want. But I got this radar thing that says, okay, this is something for nothing. Not that I don't think Spirit is going to get it, bring it my way. It's coming, but this one, let me do a little check-in here because I'm not feeling it. And I don't want to get so excited because, and then you're asking me to make a decision now. Well,
Right.
I'm not doing that.
Mhm.
You know, if I miss this deal, Spirit will bring me another one. So I'm really cool with not rushing. You know, so I see it all, AI, all in the same place. And what is life going to be like if you don't check and, if you don't allow yourself to feel and say, okay, wait a minute, I don't feel too good about this, or this doesn't sound right, or what's in their eyes, or whatever. You know what I mean? There's something, and that's just don't give in to this. The information is great. I think AI is great, but don't let AI steal life. And it's, I'm going to leave it right there because then I'll go into something else. But, you
Yep.
just don't give your life away.
Yeah. And I'm going to give one more example. I have been involved in a project for way too long at this point of turning God calls into that Thought for the Day book. And I've got them all assembled and they're mostly ready to go. And I'm on the final edit. And it turns out that some of them are a little too similar. So like changing the spacing around so 366 of them go the right way. And it needs a title. And I have been so close to God calls because I've been doing this for 15 years, and they go out every week. And I know what the story is behind God calls and how I created them. And I'm not sure that's relevant for the book. So I need to write the title of the book. And then I need to write the story of what the book is about that goes before the daily inspirations. And my coach, who's a huge fan of AI, says, just ask AI to write a title for the book. Okay. All right. So I'll do that. And I never ask for one. I asked for 15 titles with subtitles for the book. And in mere seconds, ChatGPT came back with 15 titles for the book. And not one of them is bad. They are all completely reasonable. One with the infinite, a year of metaphysical wisdom to align, expand, and evolve. That's not bad. It's not the title and subtitle of my book. Because it tastes just like every other metaphysical book out there. Number 15, You Are the Light, Metaphysical Truths to Remember Your Divine Nature Every Day. Is it bad? No. Is it the right one for me? No. So, and that's why I'm not going to just stop with that and say, I have to choose one of the 15. It's like, no, that's going to convince me I need to continue thinking about this until the right title comes to me, whether it's by asking AI to do it again and again and again until it accidentally comes up with something clever. Or actually take some time and stare at a blank sheet of paper until intuition and inspiration give me a title that's light years better than anything that a computer could come up with.
We talked about this before, and I'm smiling because you'll ask AI.
You'll just let AI write the title because you're not going to do that.
No, because I'm not, I don't write titles good to begin with, but I have something that I always use since I was ever. It's called Just Thinking. But I never had a subtitle for anything. So I just said, listen, just give me a subtitle, right? I got to have something to put on this video. I got to have something, right? I'm getting ready to hit the whatever you hit, and I don't have a subtitle. So I just go to AI and say, give me a subtitle. And it said, One Sacred Thought at a Time. I almost fell out the chair. I said, this is fabulous. Bam. That's what I use.
It's a good subtitle. Yeah.
It works. It works with everything that I want to use it for, and I'm good. Now, if it gave me 15, I don't know if I would have ever got the video done. I think Spirit knows Carolyn going through all this. Just give her the right one from the beginning, or she may go with a blank.
There you go. And actually, as I'm looking through these, the subtitles are pretty good. The titles are mediocre, but the subtitles are okay. So maybe I'll start with one of the subtitles and turn that into a title. Take another break, and we'll return with an absolutely non-artificial prayer. I'm not sure what it's going to be about yet. Maybe I'll ask AI for a topic. It's Reverend Bill letting you know that the Practical Prayer for Real Results class is now available on demand. That's right, you can take it at your own pace, anytime you want. All of the information is at bethelight.com. That's b-the-light.com. You know where to find that stuff. The class is 5 lessons, broken down into 18 modules, and you can take them at whatever pace is comfortable for you. As you work through the process, it starts out with the theory, goes into the practice, there are experiential activities and exercises, and at the end of the program, you will wind up with an understanding of how practical prayer works, and a practical prayer for yourself that will work to create transformation in your life. And as you know, it works for everything. Take a look at the class online at bethelight.com. There's a sample lesson so you can see how the class is going to work for you, and then dive in. The great news is it's on sale now. You can register and save $20 off of the regular price. I'm looking forward to seeing you in class.
Welcome back to the Practical Prayer Podcast. I'm Carol, here with Reverend Dr. Bill Marcioni. I'm still
I did not ask artificial intelligence to come up with... I did not ask AI to come up with a prayer topic.
All right. All right.
And to me, it's about authenticity. Because if I'm going to put my name on something and claim it as my own, then it needs to somehow authentically be mine. If I just hand it all over to AI and say, AI, write this for me, and think, oh, well, it's just a writing tool, like a word processor, but it's going to be a thought processor, and I'm going to let it do the research and the writing and the rest of it. I'm just going to have it put my name on there. Where am I? Where am I in that process? And how am I allowing that channel to open so that the authenticity of me can come through? Mm-hmm. And the metaphor that came to my mind is diamonds. Now, you talk about diamonds and people thought, ooh, diamonds, because they're rare and they're valuable and they're somewhat exotic. And people who have a diamond, it's one diamond or a couple of diamonds they have for a very particular reason. People who have lots and lots of diamonds, there's a whole story about how they got lots and lots of diamonds. And the thing that we know about diamonds is that they are the result of a very long, complicated process that involves pressure and time and material and geologic shifting. And we also know that it's possible to make a diamond in a laboratory or in a factory just by applying the same sort of process in an artificial way. And we intuitively understand the difference between a natural diamond and an artificial diamond. And in some cases, the artificial diamond is just fine. For industrial purposes, yeah, artificial diamonds are great. They're, great, make great abrasives. You can use those to polish up other stuff. But when we're talking about love, when we're getting an engagement ring for our beloved and using this as a symbol of our intention to change our life and commit our life, then the authenticity of that diamond becomes a reflection of the authenticity of the moment. That we're able to use something to share our beliefs and feelings and intentions with another person. It becomes symbolic. And I think the same symbolism applies when we're using writing tools or creative tools to create something. Yeah, can I make something up? Just a complete fiction story, something that never happened? Yeah, absolutely. There's a whole genre of writing. That's Harry Potter isn't real. Harry Potter is a great story told by a great storyteller. And that story could be made up by a machine, and there'd be something missing. There's something authentic about the feelings and the characters and the interactions and the emotions that go into that make it different and real. And the point that I'm making is that the same thing applies regardless of what we're creating. Even when we're creating something insignificant or innocuous or just saving ourselves a little bit of time, there is some authenticity that is involved. And there's some value in bringing our authentic self to it. So that is our AI for today. It's authentic intelligence. What am I bringing of myself to this situation? And the prayer is to allow ourselves to be guided, to use the tools in a way that's going to bring more good and more success and satisfaction and completion and uplift into our lives and the lives of those around us. There is some stuff that's ours to do, and there's some stuff that can be done by others or by a machine, to use the tools of artificial intelligence to help, to assist, to support, to enable us to create something that's richer and smoother and easier. Or even to save ourselves some time so we have an opportunity to focus our attention on more things than just this one. There is an opportunity to partner with the tools and bring something more into life and still be our authentic selves. So as we turn away from the world around us, and this is the prayer part of it, we turn away from the world around us and open to that infinite intelligence, that one divine power and presence, the one creative force that creates everything. We can acknowledge that that one divine source created everything. It has created every particle, every planet, every person, every place, every moment, every activity. It has created everything that exists everywhere. It has created me and each one who is within the sound of my voice. It has created all the experiences and activities that we're involved in. It has and is creating this moment and this next moment and this next moment. And it has created these artificial intelligence and computer tools that are now available to us. And I know that there is a way that all of this can come together to bring uplift and joy and success and truth even more fully and brightly and joyously into the world. I know that there is no need for there to be an easy way out, shirking of responsibilities, letting go of our authentic selves to take the easy way out. There's no need for that. There is the opportunity to bring our authentic self to whatever the task at hand is, to use the tools that are available in a way that augments that truth of who we are, to make our jobs and our tasks easier and more inspiring and more rich and joyous without giving ourselves away. So that's the invitation that I'm making. That each of us is guided to participate in this new experience with artificial intelligence in a way that brings joy and harmony and uplift to us and those around us, in a way that doesn't give away anything that is of essential value, that doesn't forfeit something which is meaningful. Good is available to each of us in our own way, and I am grateful for it. I'm grateful for the good, I'm grateful for the way that it's unfolding, and I'm grateful to be able to speak this word of invitation into that same creative law that creates everything, that has created me and each one listening, that has created artificial intelligence and all the possibilities that are unfolding, and to know that it's coming together in this rich and harmonious way. So I let this word be. I let it go. I know it's so. And so it is.
The Practical Prayer Podcast with Reverend Bill Marcioni and Carol Lawrence is a production of BeTheLight.com.
be-the-light.com.
Where you can find more information about practical prayer for real results.
Our theme is by Music of Wisdom. You can learn about the spiritual community of New Thought Philadelphia with daily guided meditations,
Weekly celebrations of spirit,
and Reverend Bill's classes in practical spirituality
at newthoughtphilly.org.
This podcast is supported by listeners like you. We're grateful for your tax-deductible donation at newthoughtphilly.org or the link in the episode description.